Hi, everybody. Yuri Jelin with you. And today we have an amazing guest. When Shannon said, I'm agree and has accepted my invitation to answer some of my questions about his journey, about his past, about something that he want to share. I was excited because I know that his path is very transformational. And I know it because we met on some specific place for people who come in for growth. They have already some experience, but it's not enough for them. They not settle with something that outside world uh, settle for them. Like it's the place for coaches and people who are seeking for answers, not for just for themselves. They seeking them for others also to be able to share and help. Because of that, everybody who will see this recording, I know that you will get a lot of benefit from it. And I want to encourage you to be engaged with questions. You can ask some questions, typing them in comments, like, dislike, subscribe, share if you will feel so. But I want to introduce you, Shannon. We have a 18 hours difference right now in time zone, and it's never stops. When people come in and they have something to share. So thank you, Sharon, that you have time and that you accept this proposition to share your story and your tools. I know that you already have experience, but I'm interested more about your story because behind each tool and each strategy and everything that you use right now for yourself and other people, it's your story. It's your story, it's stories of other people. So I will ask you some questions. Maybe some of them will be not comfortable, but feel free to share what you feel to share. And my first question to you, Shannon, is where are you are right now in your stage of life? Uh, and what is it about?
Good question. Thanks for having me on too. I saw your profile and the reviews of how you speak to people and holding the space seems one of your skills. So my stage of life, so I'm in midlife right now. So I've come through the exciting times of young age and I've got to a point where I'm probably fitter than I've ever been and more confident in my body and who I am. And I'm a little bit envious of people in the 20s. I wish I had the energy of my 20s with the knowledge and the flexibility I've got now. So, looking to really support people who are in that space to get to know what I know and learn what I learn as early as I can.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and thank you that you pointed. You point some very important things that you already ready to share and support others, and you get a lot of different experience and transformational spots in your life. So I'm very interested about when you look back in your childhood, what it was about for you in your childhood when you was a kid. What is your first memory? What you remember? What emotions and very important, what kind of story you have from that period? Because some of them can be empowering, some dispowering. So share, please, about that.
What an interesting question. I remember probably two come to my mind most clearly. One, I remember must be about 4 years of age, being stuck in a cot. And it felt like a trap and there was no one around. And I was determined to try and find where the people were. And I remember climbing out, traveling across the house. So I was always in search of, okay, there's something more at world there. The world's bigger than I was always curious to explore. Yeah, it felt a bit lonely. And I realized that that's something that a lot of people feel. And I felt that even as a child. I think the other one that really resonates with me seems I remember playing with a water hose with two small dogs, probably about the similar age in the backyard, and just seeing the water droplets flying through the sand, and seeing the dogs investigating, just being curious why the world worked the way it did. It seems bizarre now that I was so curious about it, but that wonder, I think, is what makes even today coaching when I'm seeing the strategies people run and seeing how I do things. I think I'm still curious like that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I want to ask you following questions and go a little bit deeper.
Sure.
In that moment, you mentioned one. Maybe you can mention another, like few of them. Very important. What did you feel in that moment? What kind of story did you tell yourself? And how it served you? How it served you during your childhood, like in first few decades of your life? Because it shapes our identity. We know for sure that when we kids, we're more in stage of like hypnosis, right? We try to seek something from outside, some support, some attention, some love, some care, and we're reflecting a lot. And this is more like before we become conscious, few first decades, like until 20 or something, we more like reflecting, accepting, and reacting, and we have some kind of identity in that stages. And many people stuck in their identity. Because why I'm asking? Because many who will watch this, they will see themselves in your story, and that transfer point, because it will be following questions about where it was turning point when you start asking deeply, and that when transformation starts, because it's also journey. But first few decades, like first 2 decades for sure, it was creating of identity from outside, and you reflect on it with a story, with identity, what it was, who it was, the Shannon in 5, 10, 15 years old.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the cot story had the most emotion linked to it because, and I think the discomfort my body was feeling, there was a hot room, there was, it felt like there was a container that seemed insurmountable at the time. And looking back, I can see that the being able to push away those feelings of being alone, not being wanted, was a great strategy for that time because it allowed me to focus on just making things happen. And I think as I've drifted through life, I've realized that that strategy of pushing the emotions down just to get to something that seemed like a greater need at the time, even though it worked really, really well for making getting out of that spot. As you mentioned, it does get locked away as a pattern. So when things are discomfort, there was an instinct to just push them down. And I didn't realize the impact that would have.
Yeah, some you're talking about some kind of consequences and cost, right? But for in the future. But first of all, I understand that some kind of identity that we create
Oh,
in childhood, it serves us.
yes.
It serves us in some kind of way. And sometimes from time to time it show up when we adults, it's remind us about like some kind of patterns. But it, the inner child wants to protect, right? To seek something. So in that stage, it was more about gaining strength, like, or maybe reaching some attention or love, connection, uh, what it was for you, because it serves you in that period of time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that was it. It was really because I think it seemed like an insurmountable thing at the time. So being able to break through it was like, oh, I can do this. I can make something happen. I'm like, I can get to a new level. I can, even if everything falls apart, I can find a way. So I think that was quite empowering. And that pattern is sort of like worst case scenario is I can do something, and I'm always looking to okay, what tools have I got in? Wasn't the cop then, but what tools can I find? Can I dig? Can I grab that allow me to do something to create something that doesn't exist yet?
Wow, it's very empowering uh,
Yeah,
decisions and like some kind of identity. So, uh, if you can share a little bit more about these transformational points in different stages of your life, what you can remember from your like school age or college or institute, or like in your first job, when it was time when this identity helps you a lot, and at the same time some challenges happens because in the first 1 2 decades we grab some like source of solving our problems to get what we want, and we start managing it so good we become experts and we like become more and more conscious in it, and we rise in our skills. But in some point we get to the spot where like other challenges show up, and we need to just not just react, we need to accept it as a at the turning point maybe. Do you remember something what was tough moments in that period of time, and it's pushed you to move on and grow through it? Because from your spot where you're at right now, you already have a flow. You turning pain to power, challenges to opportunities. So you have already this flow, mastering this. But it was a turning points. It was moments of your life that was like really tough. and, and from your end, you needs to learn new skills, open up new things, and in the end you get in coaching, so you'll be able to see things and support people in their challenges.
I think
What's that? One more time,
I
repeat
heard
it.
back in the day when we had cassette tapes. I heard a guy called Tony Robbins on one of the guys I was working with at the time. He'd purchased them from an infomercial, the late night infomercial, and we were doing construction work at the time, completely sort of different field. And I'd learned to just push through and make things happen. And I was building um, computerized tools to make that process smoother at the time. What I didn't realize, and that's what Tony brought up, that the states that you get into was possible to manage. I just thought that they would just come and there was these things that would come and attack me and I'd have to fight them off. And then he introduced me to a strategy that they were things that you could build by how you moved your body, by what you said. And in that, I remember sitting in that office and like I was doing my work and listening to the tapes playing at the same time. And to know that like the trajectory, because there's things that were frustrating me, the way I was interacting with people, the way my body was like the way my body felt, there were relationships that just couldn't make any sense. I felt bullied a lot and I couldn't figure out why. So all these things didn't make sense. But then I realized, oh, actually feelings I'm feeling at that time, and I'm creating them by how I move my body. And it was, I'd been so used to, like you said, just managing them for those 20 years or so beforehand. It didn't register, even though my mind was like, oh, there's something here. How to apply it? It's still a bit grey. And so that was, I think that's probably one of the turning points I remember.
Yeah, it's beautiful that you share that from the working point, especially as a male. You are looking for some tools to break through some challenges, especially in your work. And it's very great when you be able to find and you open to learn because many times people just avoid outside help
Mm,
because of some inner state. And another from another side of your life, it's some emotional, spiritual relationship side. Share, please, a little bit how it impacts your life in that areas. That first, your identity, some story that you tells you about yourself when you was a child or like a teenager, and right now. Share, please, a little bit about that emotional, spiritual relationship side. Some challenges that what there, maybe you remember something, and how you move forward.
mm. It's a very broad question. I'm trying to think which way
Yeah,
to direct.
why I'm asking it and point it because when we are seeking for breaking through and make things happen, like achieving things, overachieving, especially for a male, uh, it's genetically also inside us as a
Yeah.
male. So we need to go explore, to figure out, to find the way. And when we look back around us, a relationship, spiritual side, some connection, it 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 can create a gap. It's not bad or good. It just sometimes happens, and we feel challenged. Some people don't feel connected. We lose connection. We ask ourselves, okay, for what all of this? We're seeking for meaning. We doing, executing, achieving, and in some point, it's like a question about meaning. And it looks like you have a very great willpower, and you can find solution. You can find the way. You're ready to learn and explore and find out. And I know for sure, as an overachiever, uh, it can be some challenges because when we're talking about fulfillment life, it's different areas. Yes. And I want to ask you these specific questions as overachiever and focusing on execution in your understanding on your point of view, this level of preparation, inner state and connection to not be like lost in achieving things, how you manage these areas of life and what kind of challenges you had before that right now you don't have them because you know how uh, to fulfill that areas in your meaning, connection, in relationships.
Oh, that's very well said. So I think you pointed out, and you're looking from a higher level. You said you're an overachiever, and when I was doing that, I wouldn't have called it overachieving. It was simply it was the only way to add value, to survive, to be important, to feel like I had that my life had worth. There was nothing about when we look down on it, it goes, okay, he's working way harder than he needs to. But from the point, it was like it was a survival strategy. My nervous, I can look at it now, but my body was like, this is you must do this in social situations. There was so much pressure to perform, to get it right, to say the right thing, or the whole system would collapse. And same with work, with school, there was you had to get it right. And there was this, and then if you looking at like, how do I know if I get it right? That was never clarity. I was always like, there's something else I have to do. And we look back now and we call it perfection, but it wasn't. It was like, I just I have to survive. This is my next step. So that's what it felt like in those situations. What that showed up as was I wasn't present with people I was talking to because I was thinking, what's the next thing got to say to 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 say the right thing or to be there for them. And so I was not really connecting with people. So relationships felt kind of shallow, even though people really enjoyed being around you. There was kind of a dichotomy there. It was at work, it would be exhausting, and you'd come home the day like I worked hard, but my body feels like it wants to shut down, and it's kind of like I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm not getting anywhere. So that's how it looked. And if you're looking like shifting across to now, I kind of feel sorry for myself because the amount of effort I would put into trying to make someone else feel a certain way in a situation burnt me out and they didn't feel any connection to me. And now sometimes it's just showing up and feeling into that space. It sounds sort of floppy and esoteric, and I'm looking at more scientific ways of describing it. But when even someone like because you do work with IT stuff, and someone comes into you with a question, you could be like, okay, I'll go into solver mode, which would have been my default thing. Like, okay, you need to do this, but just saying, like, feeling into the person of what is the because they're feeling that if they're an overachiever, they're feeling the same thing. I have to get this right, and there's a whole different way of interacting with someone that seems to make things flow, and it wouldn't have made sense to 20-year-old me. And now it seems weird to do it the other way.
Yes. And thank you. You beautifully shared this gap when you figure out that I'm doing right things. Why I feel this loss of connection, why people feel this. I'm doing right things. So let me ask you what in that moments, because you move forward, you grow through it, and I know that you find the way how to rebuild that connection, and you know how to help others to do so. So my question is, what did you learn in that specific tough times when you feel I lose connection, I losing some meaning, but I'm doing right things. And it was like a turning point for you to understand something, to feel something, and you didn't stuck there. You move forward. So this is my question. In that specific moments, you tell yourself something, you start doing something differently, and this is how you uh, move through it. But it was like some tough moments. So how it happens? Maybe you can share some specific situation, like you shared in the beginning about like how you're overachieving, how you're getting things done was created in your identity. It's the same for sure happens in relationship and your spiritual, like your meaning side.
There's really two parts to that. So there was one was how did you recognize, and the other one was the example of like how it happened. And I don't think I would have got to it without reading a book. I would have continued to make the mistake because, like, I remember organizing parties and I wanted to get to know. I think I was feeling like, yeah, maybe later 20s. I organized a party to get to know someone. I was super shy, geeky, like so awkward. And I thought, okay, I'll organize this party and get them over. And I invited like all my friends, and her and another guy that was also my friend got together at the party. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I thought, I'm doing all this stuff and it should be working. Like, why am I not impressing people with all that I'm doing? And then why is this guy who's just talking to it making like, and it sounds like ridiculous now, but I was I was quite sad about that. And I picked up, I didn't have a lot of money at the time. I was working as an apprentice. And I picked up a book at the secondhand store, Eric Burney, and the other thing was, I'm okay, you're okay. And it had this triangle of when we're communicating, there's like a parent, adult, and a child inside of us. And I was like, even just that, like, again, it's one of those memories where I remember reading it and I was just like, that's why this thing's happening. There's sensations and there's little parts of me that are not acting at the time and them creating a disconnect. And so like now I look back and I can feel when that child part of me is kicking up from being trapped or having to perform. And I can feel when the parent part of me, which is like parts of you should from social, and then the adult part of me, which is like, oh, are you here right now? And what is the next right step? And so having that conversation, in my clients and in myself, I could notice when they're having that conversation, see when one part of that's out, and it's obviously there's more, it's deeper now, the information out of it. Probably the best example I can think of how that shift was happening in real time.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. So, right now, from the point of view right now, how you see it and how you feel it, everything's very smooth, like this transition. When you feel something similar, you know how to deal with it. You know how to change your state, you know how to change your focus, you know how to make it flow, how to turn things and feel differently. So in more empowering way. And what you start doing differently specifically, because right now you feel like you're shining, you feel confident, you feel energized, even when you share that moments when was painful for you and you was like upset and disappointed, maybe irritated, maybe angry, maybe shut down. All of that was in that time. And right now for you, it's already like you move forward. You become emotionally aware and grow. Many people run the same patterns. So
Yeah,
right now, my question is, what will happen? Of course, you already move on, but what will happen without that book? What will happen without that knowledge, understanding? And what will happen if you repeat the same patterns? What kind of patterns that was? Like some questioning, some seeking of something. And what will happen if you will stuck in that loop?
yeah, beautiful question. So I think the first thing that happened is when you get stuck in that pattern, or when I got stuck in that pattern, I noticed that I tried to fix stuff outside me. I tried to fix, if only I could find the right something, if only I could get this, if I could get the next promotion, if I could learn the next skill. And even that book, it was a really good thing. But I thought maybe I have to buy these other books, and so that I thought that there was something else that I had to change outside of me. If I could fix that person, if I could make them believe, if I could do this, that, I think that's because of I wasn't aware of what was happening inside of me. That continued for a while. So um, I'm trying to think what was the. I
If
think
you
that's
continue running, if you continue running like that, how your life will looks like right now, if you will continue looking for fixing things outside and looking for like perfect match.
perfect. Yeah. So that was the other point I forgot, I drifted off. Thank you for bringing me back. Is I noticed that my body started shutting down on me. So and I think Van der Kolk has it that a body keeps the score. So even though I kept pushing through and trying to make these things happen and was trying to put the blame to somewhere else, my body was like, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. We're not, there's something missing here. And so it would give me tension in muscular tension. It would give me like, it would grab parts of my body and you'd get like illnesses more often than you should. And they'd have you go to the doctors and they wouldn't do. You'd have loss of energy and it'd be like, where is this coming from? So my body was trying to manage all these things that I was ignoring, and they just kept compounding. And being trying to break through, like, okay, what health stuff can I do to fix this problem? Which again was something outside. They're great things to optimize, but if there was a piece that was missing, there was a patterns I was running, there was unconscious strategies that I was running that just kept making my nervous system say, "Sorry, I don't trust you." And so there was that constant fight between, which felt like a war between me and myself. And that, I think, was both the worst time of my life and the catalyst for where I am today.
Yes. And it's so great that you bring it up, these points that for you as a person who are always looking for solution and make things happen, feel yourself not as capable to fix something. It's miserable. It's feeling miserable. Like I
Well
can't,
said.
I can't get it. I can't understand it. What's wrong? And it's like it's sucking you in some kind of loop that it's draining out. And it's
Yep.
beautiful that you mentioned it because a lot of males can feel like that. And, and when you are stuck in this loop of doing, 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 and you lost this connection of being, like I love how Eckhart Tolle explained it. I'm interested. What right now you're doing differently? What right now you're doing differently to close this gap and bring yourself uh, into connection in yourself with the other people, with some meaning of what you're doing, and it's bring you another state, emotional, mental, and importantly physical, like you explained that psychosomatic, like psychosomatic problems, they are not, we don't get sick during one night, right? It's developing process, and willpower can get us very far, like we're pushing, pushing, pushing. But your example, it's a beautiful example. Like anyway, body starts reflecting. In the beginning, it's like a tiny feelings, but when it grows, we feel collapsing in energy level, and it's transfers to different areas of our life. So very important thing because for many people who will watch us, especially who are have the similar feelings of losing contact with themselves, burning out, missing relationships part, like meaning part, spiritual part, uh, like some psychosomatic problem that can show up when you go to the doctor, everything fine, but you feel no, it's not. I feel something that like tension, and something happens. Like I can sleep normally, I can put myself together, I feel miserable, I can't find the way. Everything what I'm doing didn't work. What right now are you doing differently to be able to be whole, like fulfilled?
This is the crux of the work that I did on myself because I learned coaching skills about 10 years, 12 years ago, which was the theory. And then I went through some different life challenges and then got to learn at a whole different level. And so that's the interesting bit. And what I've recognized, which is maybe we'll touch on it, but this analogy, it's kind of like the basement. When we have a feeling that we don't really know how to deal with. Someone breaks up with us, or we lose a job and feel we don't, unless we have a tool to deal with it. Our sort of strategy is to throw it. I use example, throw it in the basement, shut the door, because we're like, okay, that's out of the road now, and we're like, oh, okay, I can get on with that. That's very practical because we've got to get through the day. We've got to pay the check, we've got to pay as usual. But what happens? The things in the basement, they don't just stay in the basement. They start to grow and they get bigger and they start getting louder. And then we've got to push the desk against the wall. We've got to push the cabinet against the wall. We've got to put some barriers to try. And it takes more and more energy each day. We call them monsters.
Yeah, please keep
So
a little bit closer so I can hear you clearly. Yeah, and
uh,
I love these metaphors and how you explain it. Please continue.
when the monster gets big in our basement, or we think it gets in our basement, what happens is we go into an environment, say we go on a date or in something, and all of a sudden, boom, there's this monster hitting us, and we get all these sensations. What do we act stilted on the date, and the person's like we matched really well, but there was just something I didn't, and then it's frustrating. The When we walk away from that, dealing with that monster that we've locked away for so long feels overwhelming because we think if I open that door even a crack, it's gonna take me over. The interesting thing is when we take the time, and this is where holding a space like you are now, and the work we do as coaches, when we can hold a space and someone opens that door, and journaling's another great way of doing it, we can allow that monster, say 15 minutes or in a session, come and sit with us on our lap. And we think, oh, if I dive into that pool of that monster, I'm going to evaporate. And what we realize is when we create a space for the monster to sit, it shrinks down and becomes like a scared little puppy that just wanted to be cared for. And it's actually part of us. And then what happens is now the all the energy that we were, and you can feel it like just talking about it now, I mean, all that energy that was keeping that basement closed is now available for us. And then you go on a date and you're like, oh, I said something cool. I don't even know where that came from. And it's because a part of you that had been locked away is now back in you. And there's a scientific bit to that in the nervous system. There's also a visual part to it, and visually people can feel it. That
Yes,
works
and
both individual and especially as couples work. That's even more powerful because they've got their own two basements working together.
oh yeah. And I love this metaphor and how you explain it and how you show even with your body, with your face, like all of this. It's like you are, remember how it was with you when you when you sit with this monster, like you said, you open the door. First of all, you try to block it. You open the door and you sit with it, and it's become a puppy. When you said it, I love it. When you say it's become a puppy, it means like you don't need to shut it down and reject it. You need to love it. You need to carry it with love and see it. And after that, it's like a turning point. It's a great metaphor. The way how you present it, and it's beautiful. So in these moments when you right now feel something like people from example from environment or your thoughts get you in that state, what specifically you doing differently? Why I'm asking it, because if you be able to sit somebody right now who have
Mhm.
these challenges, what you want them to know, what kind of maybe feelings or tools or knowledge, and very important, some truth maybe that it's already exists, like you said, you try to lock it, run from it, and anyway
Yeah,
it will chase you because it's a part of you.
I think the simplest tool that if I could give someone who I never met and may never meet, would say if you hear the words, um, I don't know, or because, and you say that story, someone says, oh, how do you feel about that? You go, I don't know. Or you say, oh, I do that because da, da, da. They're triggers, they're little bits, they're things that I don't know is like is the it's a wall that we build over a part of our brain that has the connections down to our nervous system, which is linked to stuff in the basement. So as soon as we pick behind the wall of I don't know, then we start getting access to the sensation. That sensation may feel like a monster at first, but if we are aware of that as we do that process, either journaling it down or sitting with someone who can hold the space, we can let that come up. And then instead of being an I don't know, the wall falls down and we've got more access to ourselves. And then we constantly expand who we are. And also the because. So we go like, why are you nervous about talking on YouTube? It's like, oh, because I don't know how people will perceive me, or does it? And then we go, okay, that's we can't judge that. We don't actually know what that would be, but what sensations are we getting in our body as we say that? And then we drop down to it. Then that gives us access to what's in the basement. Then we address how we created that, and that's a little bit more advanced work. But then we can bring that up, and as we get to know that thing, when it happens next time, the charge of all keeping it back is no longer there. I'm like, yeah, I'm nervous of that, and the we move on, and then that's when the magic happens.
Yes. When tension in these moments tension goes down, right? Anxiety disappears because you turning your I don't know, and because you turning I can figure out, I can find out the way. Maybe something I don't
Yes,
know. Interesting how it will work out for me.
yeah,
And it's very interesting because in the beginning you share your journey, and it was a part of you who already become the person who find the way. And right now you show the way how you be able to transfer it in even in your looking for meaning and looking for connection and looking for relationship side of your life. If you turn this uh, so beautiful beauty of your story, what I love that inside you the person who achiever and always find the way, in some areas is the same person but with the same question, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and reflecting in the same time in the same person, and ability to to transfer it from a person who always find the way in one area to the same person but in another area who have a questions about what I'm doing wrong, I don't know, and building walls, this ability to transfer it and act in the same way, and the inner word that you share, it's transferring for unity, like you become a whole person and understand, okay, nothing wrong, it's just something that I be able to feel and figure out. And I love it. I love this metaphor that you bring it up from a monster to the puppy. It's a beautiful analogy. And I love it. Because of that, when I ask myself, um, in the beginning of our interview, before we start recording, that you share, I just want to serve more. Want my story to help other people. So many people feel like that, and I know it because I was there also. Yes. And this analogy will helps a lot. Because of that, I want everybody who will look this interview, reach you out, find you in social media or your website, and they will be able to connect with you because I know that you will help a lot of people. So before you will share your information, my question is for you, in this stage where you are right now, how you feel uh, uh, the most impactful way to serve people, to serve the world. What is your work about? And which specific people, which specific person you really feel that you be able to help?
I think the person I can assist the most someone who's
With who? One more time,
self-aware.
please. Mhm.
Someone who's self-aware. They've stepped beyond the I'm just dealing with my problems, and they've gone to I recognize I'm doing it, and I'm not sure what pattern I'm running. Because that I think you said before in your lovely sort of re- review of the thing that there was both me as the person who was trying to make things happen, and there was also the me as the person who was not sure how to make things happen. And the interesting thing is, neither of those are me. They are just a set of patterns that got created with a lot of emotion. And so the work that we do when people are aware, we can help them realize there's a lot of patterns that we run over the arc of our life. And some of them we lay down with pain, some of them we lay down with joy. But being able to choose them and go, okay, that strategy that I run, I built that with pain, but this other strategy, which is similar, I built with pleasure. Let's run that one. And you go, oh, I've got option to do that. That's the kind of person I am. And so, because what I find mostly is what I'm not doing is teaching something new. I'm getting people to remember something that they've done in the past. So it's kind of a more of an art in that than just which I enjoy, but it is really that. I know there's something there. I've been good in the past. This strategy is not working, and then I go, okay, let's look under that. As we said, there's a whole basement, usually part that they're not aware of. They use this pit to override everything that happens down here, and knowing how to manage those strategies gives them a whole new worldview.
Yes.
The things that happen from that are different as well. If they're different, everything that around them changes. The people they interact with are nicer. They don't get cut off in traffic. They get nice drivers. Like, what the hell? What's going on here? But it's an interesting.
Yes. Yes, Shannon. Thank you. The following question, how you feel about that when you see somebody, when you hold in space and somebody get this transformation and you just was present there. What it means for you, like how you feel about that? Because one point it's when it happens inside you, and sometimes you don't even realize it. It just happens. You just feel like that. You just feel different about the same situation, the same story, everything from outside the same. You just acting differently, and sometimes you don't feel this like, okay, when it happens. But when you're working with somebody, when you hold in this space and you like you beautifully said, you don't teach them nothing. You just holding space and they open up something that already inside them.
Often, yeah.
Just some blocks disappear, some limiting beliefs, some new identities, and you find out that nothing wrong. It is just a part of the journey. What is your feelings and what is most exciting in this work for you?
Yeah. So I get the warmth across all my chest and my smile gets bigger. So I notice what happens in my body. Like it lights up my spine when I can see that someone has opened up a part of connected to themselves. Um, I used to call myself the connector as a name, and I thought that was what I did. But it's more that I hold a space where they do that to themselves, and that was both freeing and I think it's like I think in the sun you're coming to a camp spot, and you're cold and you're tired, and then you see someone's already got the campfire going, and there's the warmth there, and you step around enjoying that. Oh, that's they're taken care of now. Or you see there's a long night and the sunrise comes up, and you see that person's now set. They've got a strategy that they realize no, it's not just happening randomly. That they know they can repeat it. Then that's just that warms me.
Yeah, like goosebumps, all of this, like yeah,
Sheltered, right?
it's a beautiful and sometimes when you're in the tough spot in the tough moments of your life, you just try to hold on things and don't make it worse, like you in this survival mode. And specifically when you dealing with somebody who in that stage, because everybody was there, sometimes you can't even see why other person will be interested and so supportive and so happy for me if I'm right now can't even feel love to myself and others. And this is a turning point that when we are transfer ourselves from survival mode to like to empathy, to growth, to contribution and grow. And the beauty that everybody has the same feelings. It's just a different modes. As you explain in biology, we have explanation like scientifically. So I have two questions for you right now. Um, One of them about the beginning of our conversation. You said, "I wish I knew something what I knew right now. I wish I knew that when I was in my 20s." What is this? What is something that you are like really wishing to know? Some maybe some kind of truth, some knowledge, some tool or something that you if you be able to throw it to your own 20 years old, like okay, grab it. Boy, like it's precious. It's like just without understanding, just grab it and do it, and you will see.
There's two things that came to mind. One is that you're never behind. The first thing was that you're never behind because where you are in life is exactly where you are, and it it didn't make sense to me for years because always there was always pressure to you've got to get this grade, you've got to get to this sport equipment, you've got to. There was always something next, but being that where you are is right, and that the how do I say that? It's really around feeling all of that moment, all the feelings of a moment in the moment. We not because I we learned to push some away and to bring some up, but learning to feel each of those in the moment and let it flow through is the secret to moving forward. So when we stop an emotion or a feeling, it gets stuck and just waits for something in the world to trigger it so that we can face it. So knowing that, so when you have a challenge in your life, feel it fully, give it the space to feel it fully. And that's again, there's techniques of journaling or coaching. Feel it fully in the moment, and then it frees you up for actually living the life that. And then if we, and it comes full circle because you're never not in the right spot in your life because that's where you're living right now. That comes full circle because if we're stuck back 10 years ago trying to fix a feeling, then we feel like we're not in the right spot. So they kind of link together.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you for answering and bring this fulfillment, this like, and you're so sincere, you're so natural. Like I can
Yeah,
feel it.
thank you.
Yeah, I can feel it from when how you change even your face, when you light up, when you start thinking, when you dive in, when you going back in time, and you operating on the different level. Like you turning some kind of tough things, tough moments, some kind of pain moments into the powering flow of empowering. It is beautiful. And you
Thank
do
you.
it so quickly. So, and it's amazing. It's amazing because it's something that people needed to believe that you can shift so quickly. Like Tony's teach and this is amazing tools. A lot of people just believe that it's only one way to deal with it, how they deal with it.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And a second question,
sure. I
you
love your smile.
mentioned
That's a good teacher.
I love it because it will be tough question because
Good.
because when you said, and the tough moments in my life, I be able to find the way, and it's light you up. I remember when you said in the tough moments, your face was like tough, it's reflecting. And after that, it was a smile when you said, I find the solution, I find the way, and it's even light up your face. It was in the middle of our conversation. So let me ask you, what the toughest moment was, in which field, in which area of your life, and what it was about. What story did you tell yourself in that moment, and what story you tell yourself right now?
So the situation was the toughest. Was it spread across two fields? So it was intimate relationship and then also social group. And there was a breakdown in that. What was the story I was telling myself? So there's a few pieces to this. So the story was that I'm, as I was saying before, someone who could fix all these things. And so I assumed that in relationship I could fix it, and then in the social group I could fix it. And the challenge brought me back to reality. That it's not my job to fix either of those things. And by doing those, inadvertently, I made it work. And that was probably the painful thing. And so in that situation, I ended up stripping myself down. I found things in the basement that I didn't realize had been in the basement. And they were able to come up. And from them developed the way I coach now. So there was a deep sadness. I'm not sure if you can feel that now. I'm going back into deep sadness, loss, and feeling like I had zero identity. Trust was zero. All of those things came up at that time. All of those things came up at that time. And also moving from that, being able to realize, oh, I the things that occurred then were related to me being disconnected from myself, me having things in the basement. Then it moves from, and of course, though the groups have their own basements, it then takes the pressure off because, like, I understand I don't have to avoid this situation or these people. It's there's strategies that they're running that cause part of that situation, strategies that I was running that caused situation, and I can take ownership of my basement. And then poof, that's where the shift happens. It's like that's empowering because someone's gone through the marriage breakup, they've been abused, they've been PTSD, all those things, anything that they've gone through, there's a strategy that is both can get them out of it because the fact that they've gone through it and they're still here. So that
Yes.
answers your question.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because this is, for somebody it can be like just a hope in the beginning, that there is a way you be able to, you don't live to settle down with it, you don't live to continue live with it. There is always some way. Sometimes you need some courage, sometimes you need some support, sometimes you need environment, and sometimes you need somebody on your corner like a coach who who will helps you to bring up some light to the darkest moments and see beauty of transformation, and create a power, and you will not be afraid to open the door and, and make these things happen, slide it up, and see that it's not a monster, it's a beautiful puppy. I just want to hug it and play with it and feel
Yeah,
joy.
yeah,
Yeah, and of course, from somebody who already make it down, it looks like easy. But I wanna tell one more time for everybody who will watch it. It's a journey, and you see right now Shannon share his story. It's like so easy. It looks like, okay, I make it down. it's really can happen. And if you will have right now some connection, it's you have some question, it's touch your heart, it's touch your state, what Shannon share right now. I want to encourage you, use this momentum to continue to make another step, because this opening that you have right now, it's not because Shannon share with it. It's because not because I'm asking some questions, because you have it inside you. You have it already, and you just have you need some a little bit of something that will help you to make this shift, and this transformation will happen. And I know for sure that for many of you, if you will get lucky, if Shannon will have some free spots, like for some calls or something like that, I'm encourage you, just jump in social media, find the Shannon, or through his website or email, and make it happen. And following question for Shannon, please share your contacts, how people can reach you out, how people can write like to get to you is easiest way that you available for them to book a call, to chat with you, to send you a message.
Thanks so much for the space today. And so I'm sure they'll be in the show notes, but transformationinstitute.com.au, the website's the best place to go to get in contact with me. Or if you're on social media, it's the Connector TI, the Connector Transformation Institute. That's on Facebook, that'll get you there. And so that's probably the best ways to get in contact with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing, and for sure, 100% I will leave in description all information that needed for people to find you, Shannon. And I'm so appreciate for you have your
Thank you.
time, and I know that in Australia right now it's it's
Tomorrow.
8. Yeah, and anyway, you find the way. It's in the middle of the week, and you like I have a busy schedule, and you find time, because this is so important that you have this mission, and it's so beautiful. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your story.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for holding the space and walking me through this. And yeah, you're doing awesome work.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Shannon. And I will see you soon. Everybody who have any questions, please drop it in the comments. One more time, subscribes and dislike, like, everything will support, and I will be happy to reach you out, everybody, guys. And let's help each other to grow and contribute and fulfill our life in different areas. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye bye.